What's going on, guys? It's Danny from Slow Restoration. We have the Escalade back in the shop. Like I said, we're going to show you how to do a lot of the small maintenance kind of things, or the typical issues that this platform of GM trucks has. So it does need some repairs. One of the very first things we're going to do, well, actually we did one already. Someone put a brand new radiator in it, and it was leaking transmission fluid quite a lot. I don't have my flashlight, but where the cooler lines go into the radiator, there's fittings there, and I've ran in this before. A lot of your new aftermarket radiators will come with those fittings loose. So definitely make sure you check to make sure they're tight before you install the radiator, because it's a lot easier to tighten them up while the radiator is still out of the car, rather than we had to pull this whole air box out and get down in there with a wrench and really struggle to get those tightened up. So hopefully that takes care of our transmission leak. The next thing is a very common on all of these LS motors, and it is, here's the new one, oil pressure sensor. This one, as soon as you turn the key on, it would peg the gauge full. I think 50, 60 pounds, whatever it is, whatever full peg is, it would go right, with the motor not even running, it would go full peg. So we picked up the new sensor. The bad thing is you got to pull these engine covers off, which isn't that big a deal. On the Cadillac, there's a couple extra ones. Where the placement of the sensor is in the very back of the motor, kind of directly behind the intake, down on the block. So I'm going to put the camera in there. There's some light. You can see where my socket is. So right there is where the sensor is. We did already unplug it. The other thing that happens with these, and this one is doing it, is they leak oil. So somewhere around the top here, where the plastic and the metal go together, they fail and they start leaking oil, and it really is hard to diagnose where the oil leak is coming from if you don't know about that, because it kind of goes everywhere. It looks like it could be a rear main, an oil pan, or all of the above. So we know we have a problem with the sensor, so we're going to go ahead and change it. Like I said, we have our socket already on there. Let's see if we can get that sensor pulled out and the new one threaded in. You really can't see what you're doing. You almost got to kind of feel for it. So let's see what we can do here. All right, if we can get my light to cooperate here. I did put an extension, I don't know, what is it, 6-inch extension on the socket. It's already on the sensor, and got my ratchet on. So let's go ahead and back that out. And the tricky part, obviously backing this out comes out fairly easy. Tricky part's getting that new one threaded back in there. You want to take your time and make sure you don't cross thread it, and then we'll get sunk back up. So there's the old sensor. We got backed out of there, and as you can see, it's wet. It's actually wet on the inside and around the outside, so it's leaking pretty badly. There is a couple different sensors that these take, so make sure you match up and get the correct one. This one is the short version. As you can see, it's pretty short. There is a tall version, and this one, if you can see inside there, probably can't, but I'll just tell you, there you go. It's a 3-prong plug. There is a 1-prong plug also. So just make sure, verify you have the correct one. The new one looks a tiny bit different. The body on it's a little bit longer, but it's the same plug, same 3-prong plug, and that you can see shows up really good. I already plugged it into the harness just to make sure it was the same, and we turned the key on with that plugged in, and the oil pressure did not move. It stayed on 0, which it should, because obviously we have no pressure on it. So let's get that cleaned up a little bit back there and get this one threaded in. We'll get snugged up, and definitely pay attention. It's a very common issue with the LS motors. Unfortunately, this is back there. I don't know if it's the heat in the back there or what it is, if it's just a defective part, but these do leak very often. All right, we do have success. We got that threaded back in there, tightened up. Now the other tricky part is going to be getting the wire plugged in, because you can't, like I said, you can't really see it, and the orientation of this is it's got to be right to plug back in. So this does have some oil on the plug. We'll spray it off, wipe it down, get this plugged back in, and we'll fire it up and see if we're 100% fixed. While I'm here, I do notice the valve cover is seeping in the back, so we'll order a set of valve cover gaskets and throw them on there too, and then this thing should be hopefully dry. We got that plug cleaned up with some electrical contact cleaner, and got it plugged back in. So now let's go ahead and start this thing up and see how it looks. I've actually, since I bought this, that sensor is always bad, so I don't really know the oil pressure. Hopefully it's good. Motor sounds good, so I'm assuming it's good, but one way to find out. Let's start it up. Gauge is still on 0. It's coming up. And we have oil pressure. Actually good oil pressure, so that's cool. This thing does have some miles on it. As you can see, it's got 227,000 miles, but still runs and drives good. Like I said, it's got that little bit of collision damage up front that we have the parts to fix, and we'll keep fixing this thing up as we go. Of course, it's a Cadillac, so it's all loaded, heated front and back seats, and interior's a little bit trashed. Previous owners didn't really take good care of it, so we'll clean it up and replace parts as we go, and hopefully it makes a good vehicle for us. Anyway, thanks for tuning in. Have a good day, and we have some more maintenance stuff to do to this, so tune back in. What's going on, guys? It's Danny from Slow Restoration. The Krypton Camaro has been sitting in the garage dormant for way too long. I can't even remember the last time we started this thing. Let's get a cold start, see if it'll even start. It might have a dead battery. I don't know. Did start. It's definitely a little cold. Should idle down here in a second. I would like to get that idle tuned in a little bit more so it doesn't surge so much on cold start, but there we go. Now you can hear that Texas Speed VVT 3 cam. Definitely gonna have to let it run for a little bit, warm up. It's a beautiful day out. It's almost January, or yeah, it is January, almost February, and it's supposed to be about 50 degrees today. Let's back this thing out and let it sit outside for a little bit and run. As you can see, we still only have just over 7,152 miles on this. She's sounding awesome. Can't wait. I mean, it's like I said, it's almost February, so not too much longer, and we'll be able to drive this again. We can drive it now, but it sucks to have to clean it up every time you drive it on salty roads. So let's get it backed out. We'll let it warm up, and we'll listen to it. I actually just noticed this. I revved it up a little bit. It makes the rear camera distort. And actually the steam coming out of the exhaust is making the backup sensors go off. That's funny. We'll let the old girl sit here, run, warm up, charge up that battery. It's music to the ears anyway. Alright, I can't resist. We gotta go for a little drive. And of course the GoPro died as soon as I pull out of the driveway, but that's all right. We took it out and stretched its legs a little bit, and it's very dusty. It may not show up how dusty it is until I wash it, but it's very dusty from sitting. So it's nice out. We got the hose out. Let's give it a wash. And there we have it, a nice clean Krypton green Camaro SS 2SS. She looks so much better cleaned up. Let's fire up, pull it inside, and I guess it's probably gonna be sitting again for a little bit. Alright guys, let me set you down. We'll get at least a couple revs out of it. Man, that sounds good.